Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and some more Blood and Plunder for you here. Today we're moving along with the unaligned and peripheral powers. So today we're taking a look at the Portuguese Bandeirantes, roughly 1630 all the way up to 1720. So it's an interesting little force. It kind of plays a little bit like some of the Spanish subfactions, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But a couple of force special rules going on here. First and foremost, all the units in the force gain elusive. So if we're in cover, that's going to give us some benefits there as far as that goes. But a lot of the list is focused around just kind of weapon swaps. So, but again, being able just to get, again, any kind of the sort of just regular special rules applied across the force. So every last unit that we take will get that free, no points cost. That's always a nice little bonus, more or less, regardless of what the special rule is. But let's jump into all this force swap, or not force, but item swapping here in the list. So we do get Milicianos Indios, and here again we get, as I mentioned, it's kind of like a Spanish, almost like a Spanish subfaction. We get the Indios from the Spanish forces, and then the Marineros as well, and then basically a couple of flavors of European units as well to go with this force comp. But anyway, so the Indios can swap their bows for firelock muskets as a main weapon at no cost. So a lot of this whole list here is basically giving us these abilities to swap without actually paying a points cost for it or forcing us to do it. We just have tons and tons of flexibility with this list. I think that's going to be the sort of the main word for this list is customizing and flexibility. Also, units in the force that are armed with a musket as a main weapon may exchange them for firelock carbines and gain the Scout's special rule at no cost. So if we go that route, again, and we can basically get most of our units to have then some sort of musket. So again, swapping out bows for muskets, and then if we have muskets, then we can actually go for a carbine if we understand that correctly. But anyway, being able to also essentially have access to a whole force that can scout, or more or less most of a force that can scout, is pretty potent. And then finally, the fourth special rule here, all units equipped with matchlock muskets can exchange them for firelocks at no cost. Again, nice little upgrade there. So just being able to do all this different swapping and customizing is, again, going to give us tons of flexibility. And then pairing elusive, getting into good cover with scouts, and being able to get into better positions against the enemy is going to be great. Now, our force selection here, we have basically 4 units, for once, actually also split evenly kind of between core and support. So we have European militia first, and then European sailors as support. Again, we're kind of talking about it this way because we have the 2 European flavored units here, and then the 2 from the Spanish list. But then also the Milicianos Indios, which can do all kinds of great work, especially if you even just keep them with the bows. They can, just with their unit special rules, do just a lot of nasty harassing work against the enemy. And so the trade-offs with the bows, of course, are there's no reloads. They are a little weaker in general than muskets. But on the other hand, you could potentially fire multiple times a turn as well, fairly easily. But a lot of good hit and run ability with them. And then finally, for the Spanish, for the support unit, the Marineros, also from the Spanish list. So we can do a lot of pretty decent work with the, as far as close combat goes and stuff, with the sailors. Usually they're pretty capable of scrapping it up. But then again, just having all kinds of shooting ability across the board here between the different flavor of muskets we get, going to carbines, getting away from matchlocks into firelocks, just all kinds of neat little tools here. Command options, we should say here too as well. Any European commander, or if we want to go the special character route again, Francisco Diaz Belho. And we'll cover all the special characters in a whole separate series of videos. But again, overall, just a nice little list here without getting into too many crazy unit choices, as we saw with the pirate video here previously, where we just have just way too many choices, almost with, again, core and support, almost more or less having access to just about all the units out there. Then also, last but not least here for the Portuguese, we do have allies on this one, so we can go with the South American tribes if we want. Makes sense, again, considering this Portuguese flavored list. Or Portuguese Brazilian tercios, which we'll cover here in the next video, which is the tercios and militia, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But this just, again, gives us a nice little force that can do some neat things here, and worth definitely a look if you have the models for it, just to test out. So if you're already into Spanish, you could just run the list and not necessarily run the European units if you want. So almost in a certain sense gives the Spanish sort of an alternate sub-faction if we want to go that route. But really, with the models, you have enough to test this out, certainly if you want to just run the European units, and again, to get access to some of the things that those two specifically do. So again, overall, a very fun list, worth your time, guys. Have a go at that. Highly recommend on this one. And let us know in the comments as well if you have played this list. How have you focused on building it between the unit selection and then any of the swaps that you have access to? And then what have you taken this up against, and where have you had success or been challenged and maybe lost a game? Let us know in the comments, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you soon.